Have you ever held onto something so tightly, an idea, a person, a desire, that it began to suffocate you? Have you ever noticed how the more you try to control or possess, the more pain it brings? Welcome back, my friends. Thank you for joining me once again in this journey into the deeper wisdom of the Dharma. Today, we explore one of the most misunderstood yet life-altering truths within Buddhist philosophy, the truth hidden in plain sight within the verses of the Diamond Sutra. We are going to unpack the secret of why the more we cling, the more we suffer, and how the very thing we believe brings us security is often the root of our restlessness. Let me begin with a personal story. Some years ago, I had a close friend who was extremely driven. He had goals, plans, ambition, a clear vision for his life. He was sharp, organized, and highly respected, but he also carried an invisible weight. He clung fiercely to his identity. He saw himself as someone who had to succeed, who must never fail, who needed to be seen a certain way. Every mistake was a crisis. Every rejection was a threat. Every silence from others felt like judgment. He lived in a mental prison built from expectations. One day, after a long meditation retreat, he confessed to me, "I've built my life with excellence, but I've filled it with fear. I'm exhausted. I don't even know who I am without all this striving." This is the paradox. We believe clinging gives us stability, but in truth, it steals our peace. We think holding on means safety, but often, it means self-destruction. The Diamond Sutra offers a radical path to freedom, but only if we dare to let go. In one of its most quoted lines, the Buddha says, "All conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a chance, light to, or a flash of lightning. Thus should one view them." Let's pause here. The Buddha is not denying the reality of life. He's pointing to the impermanence and emptiness of our experiences. And when we fail to understand this, we suffer. Here's what this means practically. When you cling to praise, you fear criticism. When you cling to beauty, you fear aging. When you cling to status, you fear being forgotten. When you cling to someone you love as if they are your possession, you destroy the very space in which love can grow. So what's the solution? Unclinging. But not in the way most people think. Unclinging is not detachment in the cold sense of apathy. It is not becoming numb or uncaring. It is about freedom from obsession. It's the ability to enjoy, to love, to serve, to experience fully without being chained to the outcome. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine holding a bird in your hand. If you grip it tightly, you harm it. If you leave your hand wide open, it may fly away. But if you hold it gently, it may stay. This is how we are meant to hold life. Gently. Lovingly. But never possessively. This includes how we relate to our own identities. Who are you, really? The you of who was 5 years ago has changed. Your opinions, your habits, your emotions, your dreams, they all shift. Yet we cling to fixed self-images. I am this kind of person. I must succeed in this way. I cannot tolerate failure. And every time reality challenges these beliefs, we suffer. The Buddha called this the clinging to self-view, sakkaya ditthi, one of the root factors that bind us to suffering. When we realize that even the self is a process, not a possession, we begin to soften. We breathe easier. We judge less. We listen more. And most importantly, we suffer less. One of the most powerful illustrations of this came from a dying man I once met at a hospice. He had spent most of his life accumulating wealth, building a legacy. But in his final days, he told me, "I spent all these years trying to leave something behind. But now all I want is to be free from everything I've held onto. He said, I used to think my possessions made me powerful, but now they just feel like anchors. And then he added, I wish someone had taught me earlier how to let go. That sentence has haunted me ever since. Because so many of us are racing toward a destination we don't understand, weighed down by attachments we don't need, mistaking suffering for success. The Diamond Sutra doesn't ask us to renounce life. It invites us to see it clearly. To understand that all things are dependently arisen. They exist because of conditions, not because of inherent permanence. This includes our thoughts, our emotions, our relationships, and our dreams. When we loosen our grip, we make room for flow. And in flow, there is peace. Let me share another example. Mother once came to a monastery with her teenage son. She was worried about his future, his grades, his friends, his habits. She said, I've given everything for him. I can't let him fail. The mind gently replied, letting him grow is not the same as letting him go. Hold space, not control. At first, she resisted. She believed worry was a form of life. But over time, she began to release our tightness. She started to see her son not as a project, but as a person. Their relationship transformed, and not because he changed, but because she did. She stopped clinging and started connecting. That's the power of understanding non-clinging. Doesn't distance you from life. Brings you closer to it. Because now, you're no longer filtering everything through fear. You're meeting reality as it is, not as you need it to be. So how do we begin to practice this? Start with awareness. Notice where you grip. Is it your job title? Your appearance? Your routine? Your beliefs? Your relationships? Ask yourself, what am I afraid to lose? And then go deeper, why am I afraid of losing it? Often, the fear hides a deeper longing for love, for safety, for identity. And when you see that, you can begin to meet that longing with compassion instead of control. Another beautiful practice is intentional release. Each evening, before bed, say to yourself, I'll let go of today, release the stories, release the striving, and return to presence. You may still wake up to challenges. But now, your grip is softer. And a soft grip allows strength to emerge. Because true strength is not rigid, it is the resilience. It's the flexibility of a bamboo stalk, not the stiffness of drywood. And resilience comes not from clinging to what you love, but from loving what is, without needing to own it. We live in a world that glorifies possession, owning things, controlling outcomes, defining identities. But the greatest treasures are the ones we don't hold, but dwell within. Quiet mind. Compassionate heart. Spacious soul. These are not things we buy, earn, or achieve. They are the natural fruits of a life lived without clinging. The Diamond Sutra whispers this truth again and again. It is not a riddle to be solved. It is a mirror to see yourself clearly. So as you move forward, I invite you to ask, where am I holding on too tightly? And what would it feel like to open my hand, just a little? To drop everything. To loosen the grip. To breathe again. To feel again. To a life without chains. Thank you for watching. If today's reflection resonated with you, please share your insights in the comments. What have you been clinging to? And what small act of release can you begin today? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a member to support this ongoing journey of awakening. And remember, the less you cling, the more space you have for joy. Thank you for watching.